Hello, welcome to First Impressions Day, and we're looking at this M2A2, or everyone knows as a Bradley. Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff, and welcome to First Impressions Day here. We do this every Wednesday. So yeah, looking at this new kit from Magic Factory. Now Magic Factory are a fairly new company based out of China, and this is the second release of this kit, this time in Ukrainian markings, and what they've basically done is taken the base kit and added some 3D printed parts to give you a Ukrainian version. So quicker, probably even cheaper to do the 3D printed parts than to tool up some additional styrene, so all good. It tells us that we have an M2A2 ODSSA. Not quite sure what that means. It's an IFV in Ukrainian markings. Tells us that it's from the 47th Mechanized Brigade, which suggests to me that we might only have one set of markings. We'll see when we have a look in. And I've been anticipating this kit for quite some time because it looks really lovely when you see pictures of it. So, and I've not had a Magic Factory kit before, so I was really interested to see what this was going to come out like. It tells us it's 1/35 scale, and it says 2007, so I'm not quite sure what that refers to. Because this was actually a new tool in 2023, and this is just a minor alteration to that initial release. So unless it's a 2007 version of the vehicle, which I'm guessing it must be, and there is another release of this due at some point later this year as well. So yeah, let's take a look. The box, the picture on the front, we've got a side profile of the vehicle. It's a little clinical, but it's well presented. We can see it's almost technical drawing. When you look at it closely, you can see the lines, the drawing lines from it, which they've clearly left in deliberately. We've got a little bit of imagery there that says includes 3D printing upgrade kit and new decals, as we'd expect. As we look at the side of the box, we've got two images here which are different. So we've got the 47th Mechanized Brigade Ukrainian Ground Forces Eastern Ukraine 2023 and 47th Mechanized Brigade Ukrainian Ground Forces Eastern Ukraine 2023 Brat version. Now Brat version I think means it has this additional armour. So you've got one standard vehicle and one with upgraded armour. So you've got two options here for building, but essentially the paint job is pretty much the same. Then we've got here a little bit of information about the kit. It's able to build the M2A2 ODSSA version by using 3D printed upgraded kit. Fine PE parts accurately represent buckles on the side skirts, bring convenience to the modeler. The kit contains parts to build a common IFV with light armour or heavy armour. Accurately replicated features of mine-resistant sections on chassis. The kit provides new semi-assembly parts to realise a T161 double pin tracks, new drive sprockets and balance shafts for easy assembly. Precise replicated and the latest features of the M2A2 ODS SA IFV. Painting schemes with rich detail included for modelers to choose from. That'll be interesting. Then we've got some contact details. They're based in Shenzhen in China, which is a high-tech city in China. I deal with them a lot. The side of the box has a rear profile Yeah, both sides are the same, and then on this side we have, let's turn that the right way around, we have a little bit of history, contact details, tells us the product is for 14 and above, and we get a nice top view of the vehicle as well. So that's all pretty cool. And it's quite a deep, imposing box for a single 135 vehicle. So yeah, could be a little bit intimidating for some people as well, I guess, but probably means we've got lots in here. So let's open up and have a look. Yeah, so the box is fairly well packed. I mean, we're pretty much up to the top here. There's a gap there. First thing I'm noticing is the sprues don't fit the box, so we've got lots of different size sprues. Clear parts on the top, I think that's moved out of there. And we've got a little box with so we've got the 3D printed parts in a bag, in a box, in a bag. Okay. So it might be plastic magic, but it's not earth-friendly magic, is it? Right, let's dig out the instructions and have a look at that. Final thing to say about the box before we get into the instructions is the box itself, the base of the box is quite rigid. With it being top opening, that's handy for us modelers, but the lid is very thin and very flimsy, so there is a risk of getting damage here when being shipped, but yeah. Right, instructions. So our instructions come in a booklet, and then we've got a separate set of paint instructions. We'll have a look at that in a moment. So we've got a small booklet. It's black and white matte, so easy on the eye, stapled. And first thing I'm noticing is it says 3-in-1 on the back. Yeah, that's not actually the case. The original release was a 3-in-1, which was the release that came out back end of last year. So yeah, that's not correct. This isn't 3-in-1. You've got 2 versions you can do, so that's a mistake in the instructions. And what we've got is black and white throughout, quite nicely presented actually. We've got the 2 different variants we can make on the front, and then as we open it up, I'm just going to zoom you in a little bit. As we open it up, we've got the potted history, some caution information, then we've got some recommended tools, and then we've got our icon key. So always worth getting familiar with that when you're dealing with a manufacturer you've not dealt with before. So we've got assemble first, both sides, choose one, so an option, apply decal, apply cement, drill a hole, cut, caution, not quite sure what that would mean really, and paint. Then we've got our sprue map, and it does have the numbers on there. They're quite small. I'd need my magnifying glasses to see, but that does mean you can cross-reference what you're looking for if you need to. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 sprues, of which 1 I think is clear parts, and then we've got the 2 hull halves, upper and lower, 2 frets of photo etch and decals, and then we've got 3D printed parts listed at the bottom. So that's all cool. You can quickly check you've got everything, which I'll do during the course of this this video making. Right, so let's have a quick look at the build sequence and instructions. So what we've got, right, okay, I see what they're doing. So we've got steps, but then we've got assemblies within those steps. So we've got building up the wheels, building up the sprockets, building up the idler, and then we're going to putting the suspension and bits and pieces on the lower plate there. We've got some return rollers, back plate going on, which means that we've not got moulded in detail on the bathtub, which is great because that means that we'll have better sharp detail. Looks like they've done that throughout because we've got little bits that we're adding on. Seems to be a lot of fastener detail, which is great, and separate tow hooks and what have you, D-rings and things. Then we're installing the wheels. So in step 2, you're doing this. So you don't need to do that until after this. So again, already I'm seeing sequences within the build that I think are sort of out of line. We've got a little brace. I don't believe we've got interior detail on here. Although we've got some decals going on there. So where are those decals going on? Not quite clear to me what that means really, because that's not the decal symbol either, is it? So the decal symbol was a white box with a black corner, and I'm not seeing that there, so don't know. They seem to put the key in the corner, which you don't know what that applies to then really. Yeah, they're a bit... Yeah, I mean, they're using it there for drill hole. I suppose they're telling you in the step that you're going to have to drill a hole, then they're pointing it out. So that's great. Right, okay. And when you look closely, you can actually see paint instructions as well. So it says paint C368. Well, we've not seen a paint chart yet, so we don't know what that refers to. But I can't work out, I can't understand what these parts are. They don't seem to relate to what we've put on. So yeah, so I'm guessing that's the decal number, 23 and 13. But, oh, is that might be part 042. Looks like it might be. And that might be the side end of that. But that's not very clear. I've had to really study it to sort of work that out. Okay. It does tell us what section we're working on, which is quite nice. Passenger compartment periscope assembly. So, yep, I'm guessing these are all clear parts. So having put the wheels on the lower hull, we're now putting the periscopes into the upper hull, drilling some holes. Then, right, it looks like we've then installed it. Oh yes, there we are. We are installing it, putting the back panel on. Okay, and then we're starting to populate this with other panels. And once again, we've got a decal going on here, which is clearly that part, but going underneath that lifting ring. So you're going to have to think about process of painting here, because you've got decals going under parts that get fitted that you'd probably then put the decal on afterwards. We'd have to have a look at the decal as well, see if we can put it in underneath. That's assuming that it's a decal. I think it must be. Yeah, it says lift here. So it's a decal that you're going to have to put on underneath those. That'd be interesting. Right, then we've got more panels going on. They look quite busy. Lots of separate fittings, which is going to really make the detail pop. When it's a photo etch part, we can see PE and then its number. So that's lovely and clear. So I really like that. It's giving us an instruction to bend, so shows us before and after. also nice and clear. More parts going on, more photo etch going on, so all sorts of bits of trims. So rather than moulding lots of detail into one thing, they put it all separate so that it's nice and crisp and will look much more detailed. You won't get soft moulding and what have you. It gets around moulding limitations, so that's really nice. So here, for example, this guard here, you'll be able to see the shape underneath it, whereas if it was moulded on, it'd just be straight down. So yeah, means we're going to have quite a high part count, I guess. Then we're building up more panels with lots and lots of little grab handles and tie down points. We've got a photo etch grill going on, which is nice to see. Then we've got exhaust deflector, turret retainer and engine maintenance hatch assembly. It's great because it's giving you all sorts of information that you wouldn't ordinarily get. So I really quite like that. Yeah. Step 8, so that's putting more little details on the front hatch there. Step 9, and that's the driver's hatch being built up with internal parts. So I'm never really sure about that. When you've got no interior detail, you're not really going to have the hatch open. So some of this you've got to say to yourself, is it worth doing? Maybe handy if someone does some resin interior parts, absolutely. But at this stage, building this out of the box, you'd have the hatch closed. So you need the vision blocks in because they're seen from the outside. But things like the hinges on the inside and stuff, why would you bother? Right, now then, we've got the camera here. Now, just be careful. This is where you have to check your references. On all the Bradleys I've seen pictures of in Ukraine, they don't have that mesh on. So it's asking you to put a mesh on. That might be US standard procedure, but the Ukrainian ones don't appear to have it. So whether they're taking it off because it gets in the way or something, I don't know. But just check your references. Do a lot of reference stuff on how this is presented, because the Ukrainian vehicles have one or two things omitted from the US versions. So it's worth just double checking that mistakes haven't been made. Passenger compartment hatch being built up. So again, interior detail that's possibly pointless, and then you've got some exterior detail as well. Looks really, really busy, very nice. Then we're doing the rear of the vehicle. So we've got all sorts of bits and pieces going on there. Yeah. Is that mounts for the, I'm guessing that's mounts for the lights and stuff. We will see. Then we're building up what they call the ramp assembly. So that's the bit that folds down so you can get in and out of the vehicle, I think. Then the tracks are being put together, and it looks like we've got Lincoln length tracks, which is nice. That's my favourite type, to be honest. Nice and quick to build. Then we've got mudguards going on. Step 15, we've got lamps being put together. Then we've got some sub-assemblies, storage boxes and hatches, and then that all gets assembled onto the vehicle there. Then front armour. So these are the armour boxes that are an option, and it says note part assemble direction and position. Okay, so I guess you could potentially put the mounts for the armour on and not have the armour on, or a combination of the two if you wanted to have it in the field, because some of this gets damaged and removed and things like that. So that could be quite interesting. It's not telling you though that it's an option, so be careful of that, because you've got two options, with and without, and it's not telling you that it's an option. Right, okay, then we've got front lamp assemblies being put together, which is pretty cool. More photo etch. Assembling proper quantity as per your demand. Okay, so these are 2 rows all the way along there, so you've got loads of those to do if you wish. We've got some holes to drill, and then handles to put on, and then you've built up your side skirts, and then you've got the option of putting on the additional armour if you wish. Right, okay, so yeah, you won't need to put all of those on if you put an additional armour on, because it covers it all up. Then we mount the side skirts, then we're starting to build the turret. Looks like the turret will be movable, which is cool. Lots more vision blocks going in, smoke grenade launchers, and then we build up lots of external panels again, so that's really nice. Yeah, so hatches going on. Again, we've got interior detail. With some of these hatches, if you might put figures in, it might be worth doing it, but if you're closing it up, you know, there's some corners that can be cut here. So turret armour and turret brat armour assembly, right, so it does give you the option here, choose one. So you've got the simple version, and then you've got the additional armour on it. I've got to say, I quite fancy using the additional armour, and having some of it missing, because the mounting points are all done out of photo etch, so that'll look really cool. It gives you some weathering options as well. Step 30, and we're building up the gunner's sight position, then the commander's periscopes, they're being added, more details being added. Yeah, very nice. And then we've got the turret rear basket assembly, which has machine gun ammo storage and what have you. Now that's the 3D printed part as well. It doesn't, it says H, so I'm not sure. There may be a kit part as well, so just be careful of that. Then we've got the anti-tank missile launcher being built up, and you can have that in a raised or lowered position. Okay, and then you mount that on the side of the turret, put the barrel of the gun in, and put your turret on. So 34 steps. Now I've got to say, other than 1 or 2 small sub-assemblies, the construction process flow seems pretty good. And once you start using the instructions and you get your head around them, they shouldn't be too much of a problem. So yeah, no real issues with that. Then we've got decal positions being given out here. So that's the additional armoured version. And then we've got decal positions for the more lightly armoured version. Yeah, brilliant. Actually not bad instructions, fairly clear, easy to read, lots of detail in them. Yeah, quite like those. Right, our paint chart is on our painting instructions. So it's a double-sided A4, slightly shiny, unfortunately, separate sheet, and our paint call-outs, what they've done is they've given you a colour tab, then its name in Chinese, its name in English, and then we've got AK real colour call-outs, of which you've got 2 omitted, which are both metallics, interestingly. Then you've got Mr. Colour called out, which is covers all of them, or Tamiya. And I guess for a lot of people, Tamiya or Mr. Colour covers it. But because you've got Tamiya in there, it's easy to cross-reference for your chosen paint system. I think more and more people are moving away from Tamiya, slowly but surely. Let's see, we've got, really we've just got an image. It's not telling us what colour to use, so and it's quite a complex paint instruction. So if I just zoom you in there, painting that is going to be tricky. There's a lot of masking. Clearly the dark green is the base green, but actually that would be the last green you put on. You'd start with the paler colour there, which is shown as light yellow, XF55, and then you'd go to that colour there, which is light green, XF14, and then you'd do the dark green, which is olive drab, XF62. So that's sort of how you'd do it. You'd paint those on, you'd make your little square masks, so a cutting jig would be helpful. Yeah, okay, and then you've got this, all the armour appears to be military tan, which suggests it's from one of the desert campaigns, maybe some of the armour that's being put on. And then if we flip over, we've got the same again. So you're just going to have to cross-reference on the previous page. Yeah. Some of that will be more difficult than you think, because you've got all sorts of shapes there that you've got to spray over. But actually, I mean, you've not got a top view on this. So are we assuming that it's the same pattern? Let's just have a look. So yeah, it is the same pattern. So it's the same pattern, but you've got the tan for the armour. So you can use the top view on that for that. Okay, interesting. And then I guess solid olive underneath, because they're not actually telling us, are they? And then we've got some decal call-outs as well, I think. So yeah, like the white squares there. Right, okay, let's have a look at the decals. Our decals are in this heat sealed bag along with our photo etch, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at all the parts for this kit in reverse order, so that I can put them back in the box in the same order they came out in. So let's just take that out, move the photo etch away. So okay, not the best decals I've ever seen. They're very thick and chunky. Yeah, they're really thick. It says they're made in China by Magic Factory. So what I can see in the light, let's see if we can get you a bit closer. There we go. So what I can see in the light is we have a reasonable amount of decal film margin. Yeah. What they have done, which is quite nice, is they've given you some markings there that have already got scratches and things on. So that's quite a nice little touch. So you've got options there. They've not done that on all of them though, just the crosses, interestingly. Then we've got the register seems to be good. So as I'm looking at some of these printed things, they all seem to be square and aligned, and we've got a colour within a box there that's perfectly in the box. So actually, from that point of view, great. Colours are a little muted, but they look good to me. I mean, you look at the Ukrainian flags, they all look good. Yeah, very chunky though, which you won't be able to pick up on the camera, but yeah. Let me get you a bit closer. There you go. So, quite a nice collection of decals there. We've got some stencils and bits and pieces. Yeah, all good. Photo etch now, and my camera's struggling, so I'm just going to take it out a little bit. We'll talk about that sheet in a minute. Let's talk about this one. So what we've got on here is the grill, the mat that goes on the top, and some other grills, and then I can't remember what that was for. But it's really nicely done, relief etched, which is really nice. See if we can show you that. I'll take a photo anyway, but you can see in the light. Yeah, I'll take a clear photo. So relief etched, so the mesh looks like woven mesh, which is really nice. Yeah, very nice actually. Very fine etching, delicate parts these. We've got the film on both sides. Now I always say I don't like this because you've got an adhesive there that's putting stuff down, and you have to clean your photo etch really if you use that. And I don't see that the benefits of putting it on outweigh the extra work that it creates for you. So that's my normal comment. However, let's look at this. So, can you see what's missing from here? There is no connection points. So if you look at this one, you can see the connection points on the corners there that you've got to cut through to remove the photo etch. There isn't any on this. None at all. So if I peel this back, that part is free. There is nothing connecting it to the rest of the fret. They've completely cut it out, and it's the film that's holding it in place. That I have never seen before. But it means that there is no cleanup on any of these parts. You're just collecting it, bending it, applying it. I really love that. That is the future of photo etching. I really, really love that. Let's just pull the film back on one. Yeah, it's not an illusion, definitely. That is a great idea. Absolutely love that. And look at all that photo etch. That's all clips and details. Very, very nice. Some of that is for the turret armor. Yeah, really nice. Right, we will take some photos and I'll show the photos at the end so we can keep talking through the plastic parts. But yeah, really nice. So all of our sprue come in heat sealed bags, and there's either 1 or 2 sprue in a bag, and this has sprue H in it, and there's 2 sprue H's, so 2 in a bag. So I think that's sort of how they've done it. So we take one of those, and this sprue pretty much fits the size of the box, and immediately I can see that we've got some slide moulding. Sorry, let me just take you out a little bit. There we go. Immediately we can see there's some slide moulding going on there, and then we've got the tracks. So we've got the lengths, and then we've got the individual links for going around the corners. Yeah, I've got one part there that is broken off. That's because of that, and they've put 2 in a bag. But doesn't appear to have done too much. There is a little bit of damage as a result, but there you go. One thing that I'm immediately seeing as well is look at the sprue gate connection points on the side of the teeth. Really, really nice. That means we won't have lost the shape of the end of the tooth. So that's a really nice way of doing that. So love that. Then we've got separate rims there, which means everything's nice and thin. We've got nice detail on the return rollers. There's no markings on the rubber. And then we've got separate rims for the road wheels, but they're not the tyres. There is a little ridge in it, and that's the metal. So you've got a bit of the wheel and the rubber on there. So it's not going to help you with painting, unfortunately. Tracks look nice. there is a little bit of sink in the rubber. You either a gentle fill or leave well alone, which means we've got ejector pin marks on the inside. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of ejector pin marks. They all look like they need filling rather than sanding back. Then we've got looks like the anti-tank gun tubes, parts of the suspension. I mean, these are the ammunition boxes for the back of the turret for the machine gun, and look at how nicely done they are. Absolutely beautiful. It's a lovely age we live in for modelling. Just stunning. Yeah, really, really nice. Detail is crisp. Plastic feels quite hard. Feels very hard, actually. Yeah, but all the fastener detail looks nice and crisp. We've got detail on the nuts, so it's not just a lump. Just putting my magnifying glasses in so I can have a close-up look. Yeah, we've got nut heads with bolts, proud of them, so that's really nice. Yeah, don't see any flash. So other than this one that's broken off the sprue, which has caused a little bit of light damage, it's nothing major. Everything else is really good. Yeah. Sprue M now, and we've got these little tabs with the sprue letter in, which is always handy. And this seems to have a lot of the armour boxes on, which are nicely done with all the little raised fastener heads. We've again, the slide moulded, so we've got texturing, anti-slip texturing on there for walking on. Yeah, really nice, and the little grab handles moulded in nicely. Lovely anti-slip texturing throughout, really, really nicely done. So no stippling with Mr. Surfacer needed. And then we've got this grill here. Now we have a photo etch grill to go on top, but it's see-through, so that's really exquisitely moulded. Very nice. There's some lovely moulding going on here, again with slide moulding for side detail, which is lovely. Then we've got some of the mounting racks for the armour, which is cool. So little pressed metal mounting racks, really nice. Yeah. And then all sorts of side plates and bits and pieces, and it's really nicely done, actually. A little bit of seam in places to clean up, particularly on the hinge here on this hatch. But again, no flash, all very crisply moulded, all looks really nice. And nice bolt detail as well. Yeah, lovely. Sprue N, we've got our side skirts there, which are big mouldings, but very nicely done, all very clean. And then we've got all sorts of little side panels, some with anti-slip on, some without. All sorts of little details here. It really gives you an impression of how complex the construction of the Bradley is. We've also got little nicely done weld details, so some of these little squares you can see are actually weld seams, so there'll be a part going in there and it'll look really, really nice. It is very well thought through. Yeah. There is, I think, a small bit of sink in this part here. Don't know if we can get that to show in the light. Yeah, I think you can just see it there. There's a little line. So in line with this on the back, you've got a little bit of pull there. How visible it's going to be is hard to tell at this stage, but I can definitely see it and I can feel it. So I think that will need filling. So you might have to remove bolt heads and then reapply them possibly. I think that was the brace in the inside the vehicle, wasn't it? Yeah, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with this. It's all really nicely done. Hatch hinges are nice and sharp. Yeah, no issues at all. Sprue I, and we've got a lot of the turret parts here. So one thing that's evident is that some of the parts are grouped together for relevant parts of the build. Not all of them, but some of them. So, I mean, the base turret part is very intricate and nicely moulded. You've got lovely detail on there already before you slap all this additional panels and things on. So very busy, will look really nice when, you know, even if you just base paint it and give it a wash, it'll pop out lovely. But with some weathering, this is going to be a stunner. Really interesting. Yeah, the openings for the clear parts are pretty good, but I'm going to need a little bit of just crispening up. There's a little bit of, fairly sure, yeah, a little bit of flash on the inside of them, so we're just going to have to tidy them up and square them up a little bit. It's tiny. I'll take a photograph so you can see, but it is there. I don't see any other obvious issues. More seam cleanup in places, so especially around the backs of hinges and things where the two tool halves have come together. We've got some quite thick seam in one or two places, so normal sort of part cleanup. Then with this, I think gets replaced with a 3D printed resin part, and you can see possibly why. There's a lot of ejector pins on the inside of that. And the inside of this, so that goes around the side of there. So replacing that with 3D printed would be an absolute godsend, actually. But as it is, it's not moulded badly or anything like that, just some very, very difficult cleanup to do. Yeah, so turret ring is nice and crisp, got lovely shape and texture on parts. Yeah, all very nice. Very nice indeed. Some smaller sprues now, so we can get you in a bit closer. This is sprue O, and we've got lots of smaller details on here. So we've still got some panels with anti-slip and what have you on. We've got all sorts of little grab handles and boxes. Some of which have been slide molded to allow for nice details on the side, which is cool. We've got tow rope here, which is nicely done. It's nice and crisp. The twist is looking good. So yeah, a bit of flash on some of the Pioneer tools. So we've got a pickaxe handle, that blade there, that the seam is so thick you'd have to call it flash. So we've got some delicate cleanup to do on some of these parts, and a bit of sink in that part there. So where you've got a thick bit of plastic, we're tending to see a little bit of sink. Shovel is lovely. Again, it just needs a little bit of crisping up. It's a bit rough around the edges. Yeah, the detail is phenomenally good. Really nice. Yeah, nothing wrong with these. It's just clean up, and you can say that about so many manufacturers. You know, it's just standard stuff, really. Sprue A has some of the larger pieces on, so the back panel there, some additional panels that go on, the rear bottom plate there with the toe points to be mounted in, and some I think that's an opening door, isn't it? The ramp. So yeah, all sorts of larger details and some of the accompanying details that go on them as well. The hatch handles and locks and things. So all nicely done. Again, we've got nice, very delicate weld seams put on. So that's really lovely. Yeah, don't see any issues with sync on these parts, so all good. Sprue J, lots of small parts again, and again I'm seeing some fairly heavy seams, so quite a bit of cleanup on some of these parts. You know, look at this periscope, for example. Quite a bit of sanding to get that into shape. So yeah, there is. I think probably the biggest issue I've found so far is how heavy some of the seam is, but the detail is lovely throughout. Possibly got a little bit of sink there, maybe. The detail on the handles and the fastener heads is really nice. Yeah, generally I have no issues with this. Yeah, very nicely thought through, and this is one of the very few sprues we've seen that doesn't have any slide moulding. Sprue D, we have 2 of these, and it's dealing with lots of repetitive parts. So we've got the suspension arms there, we've got lifting hooks or grab handles, lots of the little wire grab handles as well, hubs, brackets, all sorts of little bits, including lamps as well, smoke dischargers, yeah, and some additional tracks. So whether we use those or they're for storage, I don't know. I don't see any real issues with any of this. Everything's nice and crisp. Even the seams are not too heavy on these parts. The little wire handles are beautiful, really stunning. You'll have to remove them from their sprue gates carefully and sand it back carefully. If you just snip them off, you may well lose the rounded shape due to their position. But yeah, very nicely done. Yeah, lovely. Sprue K, tiny little sprue, but lots of slide moulding going on. So we've got the main mount for the gun, and you can see that that's going to be rotatable, but there's no breech or anything behind it. So again, because there's no interior, but what we've got is nicely done. The barrel itself is of both the main gun and the machine gun are slide molded, so we've got open openings, so that's really nice. You can see there, yeah, and we've also got the openings along the side there as well, so I can actually see through that. So that's really clever. That's very nicely done. And then a couple of brackety type parts or surface plates. Yeah, lovely actually. Sprue L has some more of the armour boxes, and just look, you've got slide moulding the full length of it. So you've got the top mould, you've got the tool coming in from both sides, so we've got lots and lots of detail on the side there. Yeah, really nice. It's really lovely actually. Very, very nice. Right, Sprue E, and we've got some vinyl rubber parts, 4 of them. So I'm guessing these are rubber on the actual vehicle. We've got these little skirts, but I think they go on the side of the vehicle. I'm not quite sure what they are, some form of cover. This one has all sorts of folds and creases moulded in. And that at first looks like an ammunition belt, so I don't know whether it is or not. But yeah, you don't see that very often. How easy that's gonna, I mean, maybe these don't get painted, although it looks like some elements of them would have to be. You know, the metal strips along the edge. Will be interesting to see how we get on with those come the time. our lower hull bathtub now, and what we can see is we've got some nice detailing on the bottom. We've got a mould point there which we can just simply fill. But yeah, all the fastener detail is there and looks good, and we've got little hatch points there for draining or access or something. And then on the side we've got nice detail for mounting all of our suspension. Yeah, don't see any particular issues. Yeah, all good, no distortion that I can see, all looks square. You never know with bathtubs, I don't like them really, but lots of people do them. Then we've got our upper hull, and much of this gets covered in detail, and so a lot of what we're looking at here you ain't going to see, although some parts clearly you are. This section here, this section here, this here, and a bit of this. The rest of it pretty much gets covered up one way or another, so it's really just the substrate in many ways. So we're not going to worry about the sink and stuff around there, I don't think. I think we've got stuff covering all of that. So yeah, a little bit of cleanup needed. I can see some seam, some mould witness and stuff just to clean up. You can see it was slide moulded, so and we want to clean it up just to make sure that all the parts that mount on top of it fit smoothly. A little bit of clean up around the openings here. Yeah, and still, even though there's lots of detail on there, there's still options for a bit of scratch building. So like this little pin here, if we can get some focus, there we go. So the pin there, we can cut that out and replace it with an actual little bit of wire, for example. That'd make a nice difference. So there's always improvements you can find if you wish. Clear parts now, and they are nice and clear. And in the parts that matter, the glass boxes and stuff, they are really nice. Underneath, in between, you've got some distortion and stuff, but that doesn't really matter because that's the bit that you're going to paint. The actual bit that's going to be seen is really nicely done. Some nice detail around some of these camera opening lenses and stuff. Very nice and clear around the lamp lenses. Yeah. We've got nice detail within the lamps there. Yeah, really lovely. No issues with that. Finally, our 3D printed parts. So bag, box to keep them safe, and then another bag. So these are Ziploc bags, so that is good. Means I can make sure that they're all sealed back up properly. And we open that up and pop her out of her bag, and look at that. No ejector pins to clean up or anything. That is a proper upgrade on the kit parts that we saw earlier. Very nice. The sidewalls are good. Lovely bolt detail, 3D printing. It's just really nice when it's done properly. Really nice. I'm just feeling on the inside for, yeah, there's no witness lines of the layering process of them being printed. Yeah, that is lovely. Let's have a look at these other ones as well. So this is more sort of shields and bits and pieces. There we go. So we've got some shields on there. We've got some more ammunition boxes for machine guns, additional ones. Actually, the plastic ones are almost as good as that anyway. But I think this is adding more rather than replacing. Yeah. Yeah, oh, really nice. Yeah. So this gives you the additional stuff required for the Ukrainian version, basically. So very nicely done. Right, let's sum up. So there you have it. The M2A2 Bradley from Magic Factory in 135 scale, Ukrainian 47th Mechanized Brigade Service. What is my first impression? Wow, it's a nice kit. That is a nice kit. Let's go through it methodically. Packaging and boxing. First time we've dealt with Magic Factory, so we'll just have some thoughts on that. I would say it was a good average. We've got most of the sprues in individual bags, a couple of them in doubled up bags, and as a result, we've had one part that's come away slightly and got some minor damage. But the 3D printed parts are well packed. Yeah, no real issues. The boxes average, you know, sturdy bottom, flimsy top. Yeah, it's the same as most people, to be honest. So packaging, a good average. Instructions, once you get your head around it, it's like anything that's new and a new way of doing things. Different companies all do it slightly differently. From that point of view, I would say once you get your head around them, there is nothing really wrong with the instructions. The imagery was clear. You've got written instructions, basic written instructions, I should say, really, in Chinese and English, but the illustrations are clear. Once you've got your head around the key and their way of working, no issues at all. In the main, the build process makes sense. Even the sub-assemblies that are slightly out of sync are not far away from where you're using them. So no major issues with that. Paint instructions called out through the build, so that's fantastic, as are some of the decals. And then you've got the separate paint sheet, which is okay. I wouldn't say it was brilliant. It's certainly not class leading or anything, but it's okay. Between the 2 pages, you can work out what you need to be doing. Yeah, and I'm glad that you're having to mask all of this off rather than having decals that inevitably won't sit properly. So it should look awesome when it's done. You've got a nice level of photo etch, and what a lovely innovation, having those parts free floating, just held together, sandwiched in the clear sticky back plastic. I don't like the sticky back plastic as a general rule, but if I've not got to clean up the part in the first place from removing it, then I could grow to love it, because I loved that idea. I thought that was brilliant. All those tiny little parts perfectly, crisply etched out for you. So all you've got to do is take the part out and use it. Fantastic. I love that. That's probably been my highlight of the kit, if I'm honest. Decals, they're all right. They're all right. Certainly room for improvement in there. Very, very thick, which means once you've clear coated and stuff, you may well still see the decals. So that's probably the weakness of the kit, is the decals. They could do with paying cartograph a visit. Plastic parts, lovely detailing, some very nice moulding, some really exquisite moulding in places. Reminds me very much, kept coming to me as we were going through it, reminds me very much of mini art, where you've got some really exquisite fine detail moulding going on, but you've also got quite a bit of cleanup. There's a lot of cleanup in this, more than you'd get from some suppliers, but maybe less than you get from mini art, for example. The seams in places are quite heavy, even a bit flashy, but the plastic is very, very hard, so it'd probably be easier to clean up than mini art, for an example. But lots of slide moulding going on there, so lots of lovely detail. I didn't see any distortion in the part because of the moulding process, so really nice. Only things really missing are antenna aerials. So you've got the bases, but you've not got the actual aerial itself. Otherwise, just a phenomenal job. For a new company, this is their starting point. Fantastic. Yeah. It's a lovely model, and actually the Bradley's bigger than I expected it to be. So yeah, a bit of a surprise. So all in all, what a fantastic kit. Can't wait to build that. I really, really can't. But the biggest problem I've got is, do I do the armoured version with all the armoured boxes, which I really fancy, or do I do the lightly armoured version with all these individual clips on, which I really, really fancy? Might just have to buy another one, maybe. It's a blooming lovely kit. I'm impressed. The 3D printed parts that they've put in really raise the game of this area here. It's really, really helpful. So yeah, and then this bit here we saw in the vinyl. I'm gonna be an open-minded about that. I'm not sure whether I like that or I don't like that, but we will see. Anyway, a really, really nice kit by anybody's standards, and much better than some people's, and definitely in the top echelon of kit quality. Of course, all of that is dependent on how well it goes together, what the fit's like, but I didn't see anything that was gonna give us fit issues. And these days, generally kits designed on AutoCAD, if there's going to be a fit issue, it's because the tolerances are too tight, rather than the other way around. So there was no obvious issues. There was some really nice touches, like the sprue gates on the sprocket teeth sides, which was nice. Yeah, I think it's a well thought through kit, nicely detailed, nicely presented, not bad for the price. In the UK, coming in at just under the £50 mark, which I think is a good average price for an armoured fighting vehicle. This is packed with detail. It's not a weekend build. You've got some things to think about, particularly around the paint process, because you've got lots of little grab handles that need decals underneath, and because you've got margin around the decals, that won't be easy to put them on after your painting process. So you might be painting things and then attaching some parts separately after painting. So there's a little bit of thought to be put in places. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. So there you go. If, like me, you've never come across Magic Factory before and you wondered what the quality was like, I would say this is a really nice kit with good instructions. Quite often the Achilles heel of some Chinese manufacturers, but no, this is a real solid offering of a really in vogue vehicle at this moment in time. Very nicely done. Yeah, I love it. And now you know what's in the box if you were wondering about Magic Factory like me. So yeah, I hope that was useful and helpful. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to hit the like button so other people can get to see this as well. And in the text below, you can see how to contribute to the channel so that we can do more reviews of new release kits as and when they come out. So thank you very much for joining me. You enjoy your modelling and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.
Hi, and thanks for watching. You can support the channel by hitting the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you don't miss any content that I put out. Model Kit Stuff is a self-funded channel, and I don't do membership or Patreon or buy me a coffee. So if you'd like to further donate to the channel and ensure the cameras keep rolling and the content keeps coming, then you can consider making a donation through my PayPal. You will find a link to that in the text below. You enjoy your modelling, and I'll see you soon.